Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today, from now onwards, we are going to start a lead code question solving series, which I will solve 40 lead code questions. So today, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to solve one of the most famous and business-friendly problems in lead code, the the two-sum problem. But instead of directly jumping into the code, we will first understand what the question is actually asking, how to think like a problem solver, different approaches to solve it, why some approaches are inefficient, and finally, we will implement the optimized solution in CPP language step by step. So first of all, so if you are preparing for coding interviews, improving problem solving skills or starting DSA, this video is perfect for you. So let's get started. First we will understand the problem statement carefully. The problem statement says given an array of integers, nums, and an integer target, return indices of the two numbers that such that they add up to the target. You may assume that each input would have exactly one solution and you may not use the same element twice. So here the problem says that we are given an array of integers called nums. Wait a second. What is this? So the problem states that we are given an array of integers called nums and a target value called target. We need to return the indices of the two numbers such that the sum becomes equal to the target. And one important thing, we can assume that there is exactly one valid answer and we cannot use the same element twice. So let's understand this with an example. Suppose we have the nums uh, uh, 2, 7, 11, 15 and the targeted value is 9. So here, if we observe carefully, in the zeroth and first index, we can see that 2 plus 7 is equals to the target value 9. And their indices are 0 and 1. So, so the output will be So the output will be 0, comma 1 as in the given solution 0, comma 1. So now many beginners make one mistake here. The question is not asking for the values. It is asking for the indices. So that's very important. So now let's think about how we can solve this problem. So if you are a beginner in DSA, solving any coding problem, the best approach is brute force approach. It is the simplest way here. First of think of the simplest solution, then we will think of the optimized solution. So we will check every pair. We can use two loops. First loop selects one element. Second loop checks all remaining elements. Then we simply check nums of I plus nums of j equals to target value. So if we get nums of I plus nums of j equals to target, if yes, then return the indices. So now this solution will work perfectly. Now let's write the brute force. So now let us write the brute force code. So I will just remove this and oops. So first of all, we will create a additional not let's keep it first let's keep it optimize only. So for int I equals to 0, I less than nums size minus 1 I plus j equals to I plus 1 j less than nums dot size j plus plus. And here we will write the condition as if nums of I plus nums of j is equals to target value, then we will simply return I comma j. And as we are writing in CPP, so at last we will also need to return something. So here we will return it. So this is our brute force as we are checking using two loops. So now let's run it and okay. One has come. Okay, let's go to this make syntax error. I have one second. Yes, it has worked perfectly for all the given examples. Now we can submit it and check if it yes, it is accepted. But this is the like brute force method. It is not much optimized. So now let's talk about time complexity and space complexity. So if we analyze this solution, we are using one loop inside another loop. That means for every element, we are checking almost all other elements. So the time complexity here becomes uh, order of n square, order of n square. So time complexity becomes order of n square, which is not efficient for large inputs. And in coding interviews, after giving the brute force approach, the interviewer usually asks, "Can you optimize it?" And if you can't optimize it, then it is like 100% sure that you won't be selected in that interview. So now let's think of a better solution. So here comes the most important part, the optimized thinking process. Instead of checking every pair, what if we could instantly know whether the required number already exists? Suppose nums is this only 2, 7, and we have a target equals to 9. So basically for every element we calculate remaining equals to target minus current element. Then we check have we already this in remaining value? If yes, we found our answer. To do this efficiently, we will use a hash map. The hash map will score the hash map will score value with its index. Value with its index. Uh, so now let's and this approach is much faster than the previous one. So let me just write the optimized solution. So here we will need to define an unordered map, unordered map. Zero, step, Mm, we will create a variable remaining and check every target 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 element minus nums of I. So if the map will have the if map have the remaining element mp dot find, we will need to find, so we will use here mp dot find if mp okay mp dot find remaining is not equals to mp dot is not equals to mp dot find, then we will return return mp of remaining comma empty of remaining comma and here empty of nums of I equals to I, and we will return so now let's check if this works or not. Okay, okay, I have forgot to put the semicolon at the end of the line. So yes, it has accepted. As you see, the previous solution here has like it 41 ms. So let's check if it is better or not this time. Yes, look guys, the time complexity have reduced. So it clearly says that it is an optimized solution. So now let's analyze the optimized solution. We are traversing the array only once. So the time complexity becomes order of n. And since we are using a hash map, space complexity is also order of n, which is much better than the brute force solution. So this was the complete explanation of the famous two-sum problem in CPP. So if you enjoyed this video and learned something new, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and comment which lead code problem I should solve next. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video.